Call the meeting to order. We'll stand for Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Miller.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Matt, you got some good news for us?
I certainly do have some good news, trustees. Give me just a second to get myself organized here. All right, so trustees, first up tonight, we have some swimmers with us. In fact, we have some champion swimmers with us. So what I'm actually going to do is bring up Coach Follow-Up. She's going to come up to the podium and she's going to give us this portion of tonight's good news that involves some kids and records and championships and all the things. So, Deb, take it away.
Coach Keyser couldn't be here tonight, but he's actually the head coach and has been for the last several years, and then I assist him in that, so he gives his regards to not being here. I've been coaching high school and middle school swimming for 20 years now, and this swim meet was packed with lots of firsts, and it was very exciting. So I'm going to bring them up, which they're very excited about. So first we have our two divers, Parker Dolson and Mason Betts. Come on up. As sixth graders, so the meet is, it's unique for swimming and state meets because usually you divide up by divisions for most sports. But middle school MISCA meet is all divisions. So we're going everywhere from third division all the way up to first division. And these gentlemen, as sixth graders, took on eighth grades in all divisions and ended up in 18th place and 12th place. So it's pretty exciting. Raven. And then Jared Chapman. Josh Shaney, just come on. Josh Shaney is our diving coach. I just introduced your divers. She did a great job with them. And then Braden and Jared Chapman were our free relay that took on this year, and they moved up 4 places from where they were placed and had the best time, so that was awesome for them. Braden Havelka, if you see he's wearing some hardware, he finished first in 2 of his events, in the 200 free and the 100 free, and he broke 2 school records, one from 2016 and one that has stood since 1996.
Wow.
Gretchen has had a fantastic season. She's a 7th grader, so she'll get to come back next year. And in this season, she has broken 4 different school records. And at the state meet, she won the 100 IM, the 50 fly, and she also got those 2 school records, some standing from 04 all the way to 2019. Not only did she get school records, but she also set 2 state records while she was there at the meet. So even though we didn't have a pool to practice in, these kids worked really hard against some hard challenges and yet still came together. And what I love, most of all, with their hard work in the pool, is their dedication and their friendliness. Like, you wouldn't know this is all we had on our pool deck. Each of their lanes was packed from teams all over the place because these guys just go around and talk to everybody. So everybody wanted to cheer for them when they were swimming alone. So it was really awesome to see their sportsmanship and their hard work in the pool. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Coach Follow-Up. Congratulations, kids. You want to? You want to? Hey, Coach Follow-Up, Deb. I think we're gonna pause here and take a picture. Okay? So kids, you can't go just yet back to the basketball game. Can you come on back up, please, and let's take a picture. And parents, if you're here, if you want one too, come on up. Okay, trustees, next up tonight, I'm sure you've noticed this by now, but I wanted to take a moment and recognize that our very own Carrie Barton was named Michigan Regional Teacher of the Year for Region 8. If you know Carrie, this is a very well-deserved honor that reflects her passion, her dedication, and her commitment to students. So I'm not going to say any more than that tonight because Carrie's actually going to join us at our next board meeting on March 16th, and she'll be able to tell you a little bit more about what this experience has been like for her because it's pretty darn cool. Next up, I don't know if you know this or not, trustees, but February 15th is National School Resource Officer Appreciation Day. So I wanted to take a minute and just recognize Sergeant Lamka and Buddy. I think they're here. He's supposed to come up here. He was going to try not to, but he's coming up. You got Buddy with you? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, you gotta have Buddy. So Sergeant Lamka really does bring a lifetime of service to our schools, whether that was his cert time in the U.S. Army, his time as a firefighter or paramedic, and now law enforcement. But since stepping into this role as our SRO here in Tecumseh, he really has worked tirelessly to build positive relationships with kids, with staff, and with our community. So, from the bottom of my heart, Sergeant Lamka, thank you for all that you do for us.
If I could just take a second, though, I want to thank the board and the previous board that voted to bring this dog on board. I was pretty passionate when I pitched this to you guys. I'd seen the dogs in action at the other schools, but it's absolutely doesn't compare to working this dog myself in the school. And every single day I see the impact he has, even just small impacts. So I've had a blessed career. He just kind of hit the highlights of what I've done in my career. But this is the cap right here, the crown. He's been an amazing dog, and he's done with kids in crisis to staff in crisis. I mean, it's like every single day somebody's interacting with him in a positive way. So I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really am blessed to be here, so I appreciate it.
The feeling is mutual. Thank you. Okay, trustees, about 2 weeks or so ago-ish, it was actually Hundreds Day, and particularly in elementary school, Hundreds Day is a really big deal. And so we celebrated it with lots of snacks and laughter and creativity, and some pictures here of a Hundreds Day fashion show that was put on in our elementary schools, and as you might imagine, it was just tons and tons of fun for the kids and the adults. And then moving on a little bit, February is Career and Technical Education Month, and so I wanted to just pause and say, just as an interesting fact, in case you didn't know, or our community didn't know, in round numbers, between students in our junior and senior class, about 40% of our kids are taking career and tech ed classes either here at our high school or out at the tech center. And these students are taking classes in arts and communication, business management, marketing, technology, health science, human services, and much, much more. And there really are so many great opportunities for kids who are interested in career and technical post-high school careers. And we have those opportunities for them here in preparation for post-high school journey. Next up tonight, believe it or not, trustees, we are going to welcome the class of 2030. Nobody knows? 2039. Believe it or not, this fall we welcome what will be the senior class of 2039. So here's the scoop. You can see it up on the screen. We're opening our doors at Sutton on Saturday, April 11th. Parents and kids will have a chance to meet the school principals, meet the young fives and kindergarten teachers, meet our art, music, PE, PLTW teachers, visit classrooms, take a ride on a school bus, get your your health and allergy questions answered, get your food service questions answered, and just get an overall vibe of what it means to be a young fives and or kindergartner in the Tecumseh Public Schools. So that's it for me tonight. Thank you, and Ms. Brooks, I'll turn it back to you.
All right. That will take us to public comment. In accordance with the Open Meeting Act of 1986, the board provides opportunity for citizens' input during the public comment. Because agendas are full, each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. The board will listen, take comments and questions under advisement, and not respond at this time. The presiding officer will refer questions to the superintendent for research and response. Do we have any public comment this evening? All right, then we will move on. Are we aware of any revisions to the agenda? Okay. I don't know that we need to actually,
We do need to approve the agenda.
what's that?
We need to approve the agenda.
Yeah, no, we don't have anything in the consent, so do we actually need to remove it or just go over it?
I think we can remove it.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to remove the consent agenda just as a formality because we have nothing to put on the consent agenda today.
Second.
Roll call vote. Trustee Davis?
Aye.
McGee?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Miller?
Aye.
Excuse me, Trustee Simpson? And Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, so we are going to strike that, and then we will make a motion.
I move to approve the agenda with the modification of removing the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Trustee McGee?
Aye.
Trustee Davis?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Simpson?
Aye.
Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Danielle, can you hear me okay? I'm sorry. Okay. And that will take us into scheduled reports, and we're going to start with Mr. Cole.
Thank you. Hello, everybody on the board. It's good to see you guys again. We're wrapping up our journey here, at least I am, and the rest of the senior class with only really 2 months left of high school, which is kind of insane just for us. I think we're all like taking it in. So I have a few elements tonight talking about the end of our career here. One really big positive is that we're coming off of Tecumseh being only a few weeks ago, which is Tecumseh Indians celebrates winter sports season, because I know not everyone knows what Tecumseh is. I didn't really know until about a year ago. And we had a ton of student activities like the dance and the basketball game the night of happening. I know that specifically the dance was a really great event for the underclassmen to go to, and it was a lot more focused towards the freshmen and sophomores connecting, kind of similar to like how prom is for the juniors and seniors. So I think it was really special, and I know that a lot of the attendance was that younger age demographic in the high school, which I thought was something really positive. We just had count day throughout the district, and I wanted to highlight the great job that the high school and the administration team did in emphasizing the importance of showing up to make sure that we get the most amount of funding that we can for the high school. Because I don't think people realize that just coming to school the one day can be $9,000 more that the school gets, which I think is a really big difference, and I think a lot of emphasis and correct emphasis was placed on it. Another really huge positive is we have a brand new club in the high school called Tribe Club. It's a leadership-based organization which is focused on the needs of the entire Tecumseh community. It's super widespread, almost any student can join. And they just, even though they were created just a week ago, they recently just dropped off hundreds of letters written by Tecumseh students to various nursing homes around the community. They were winter themed, and they contain pretty simple messages of winter greetings and well wishes. And I know from the responses we got back from the nursing home administrators that they had a really great positive impact, and that the seniors were overjoyed at getting to receive just some sort of communication with someone who maybe who they don't always see. And I know that was a really big positive, and we're continuing to drop off more and more letters over the next 2 weeks is the plan. So I just thought that was great. It's a really great club, and I think that it's going to flourish from here on out. Our winter sports seasons are starting to wrap up just around March, February. Both basketball teams are still in season, and as you know, the boys basketball team is down the hallway competing against Madison right now. And then the girls basketball team still has yet to compete, but I know they're going to crush it. Last year's state champions, so I have all faith in them. And the wrestling team is sending Junior Cruz Torres to D2 states at 175 pounds in 2 weeks, which is a really big accomplishment. Haven't had a state placer in pretty close to 4 years, I'm pretty sure, as a wrestling program. So that's huge, and we all wish him the best of luck. I wanted to let you guys know that drawing closer to graduation, the senior class of 2026, we have chose our class color, which is sunset orange. Our class flower is a marigold, and our class song is Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. We had a huge Google form and questioning where we questioned everybody in the class, and those are the ones that they chose, and I think they really sum up who we are as a class and our identity. And we're currently working on our senior gift, I know, and I think the intention is to create something for the jungle to use at student sporting events, because we feel that it could be used and passed down over years to come. And another really huge thing is that our anatomy and physiology class received a hands-on demo in which they got to see actual human organs and anatomy through a company, which brought in a super knowledgeable guide throughout the whole experience. I happened to be in seminar after it happened. She was super passionate, and they used all the proper sanitation with gloves, and I know it was a super cool experience for anatomy and physiology students to put a picture and an actual image to just something that they learned about in a textbook, which I thought was really great. I also know that not just anatomy and physiology, past and current students are taking a field trip tomorrow based around the field, and I think it's going to be a super great experience too for them, anyone looking into going to a career like that. And the National Honor Society also participated in a fun activity recently. We sent all 5 of our officers to Adrian High School, where we met with every other NHS leader in the county, and they made countless blankets for donation to those during the cold months. I went as an NHS officer, and it was a really positive event. We got to connect with kids from Adrian, Sand Creek, Clinton, Madison. There's tons of schools. Onstead was there. It was a really great experience that we got to also meet other leaders, and it was just a really positive event, and we made a ton of blankets. Just recently, this is a little less serious note, we set the school's walking taco record with over 400 consumed on last Friday. Our reward for that was Mr. Dolson was dressed up in a taco costume all day today. And I know it was a really big positive. I think it was worth it. I think eating that walking taco was worth seeing him dressed up, so it was an amazing thing. And to end it off, I also know that something going on right now is the swim team's doing a shaved head fundraiser. They put them up in the lunchroom, and I already saw tons of sign-ups because I don't know who doesn't want to shave their best friend's head. So I think it's going to be pretty great. And I know it's going to be a hit, and I hope it raises them a ton of money. Like I said, it was a little shorter because we haven't really been in school that long, it feels like, but it's going by fast, and I want to thank you guys. So that's all I had for tonight. But any questions?
Can we sign people up for the shaved head?
How much does a shaved head go for?
It's like a bid, so it's like first person's like, oh, I'm gonna bid $20 to shave so and so's head, and then the next person's like, well, I'm gonna pay $50. I want to shave their head even more, and so it's pretty fun, and it's competitive spirit, which is I think the essence of the fundraiser. But
All right.
yeah.
I will tell you, trustees, that there might also be a picture that shows up on our Facebook page tomorrow of somebody dressed up like a taco. So
I'm counting on that.
just be on the lookout.
Thank you, Tucker. And that will take us to our Budget Committee Representative Darcy is going, there she is.
Steve's with me. He'll be presenting the other half of it, and I'm just going to, well, good evening first, everybody. I am just going to do the highlights of some of the conversation that we had at the Budget Committee meeting, which was on the 16th, last Monday. And I'll start off. We talked about the GSRP program versus tuition preschool. We had a really good discussion around that. The presence of GSRP will be at Kindergarten Roundup, so I'm sure there'll be people there to answer any questions. We have found that the tuition preschool has cost the district over the years, and that a lot of our families do qualify for the GSRP program. So it makes sense to take the classroom that's tuition-based currently, because we've lost a number of students, and move that to a GSRP classroom, which is grant funded. So, and that we work with the ISD, we submit a budget, and we do, they're called draws, and how we get paid back for that program. So we did talk about that, so we'd still go along with the recommendation that we move to another GSRP classroom and not the tuition-based preschool. So we did speak about that. We also talked about the strategic plan. There will be funding in Title II, so that will pay the entire cost, but we are putting that off for a little bit. Just, we have a lot of other things going on, but we do have the funding for that, so that's fantastic. Committee of the Whole, we really didn't get into it, so I don't know if that's a discussion for tonight. I'll just move it out a little bit. And Steve, monthly monitoring, he has the numbers.
Good evening. This month, for the first time, we've started a new practice that the committee members on Friday receive these reports prior to the meeting. Up until now, as we've been developing them, they were given out at the meeting, and so now they'll be passed out or sent to them the Friday before the meeting, so they'll have a chance to review them before our meeting. And the one thing about this month's January Treasurer's Report is that sorry, Matt.
Yep, no, that was me. I got ahead of
Put
you.
it up there, didn't I?
Yep, no, it was me.
When you look at the payrolls, January was a 3-pay month, and so we had some additional funds going out this past month due to the Fridays, the biweekly payroll hitting. The schedule had January being a 3-pay month. After that were the other normal expenses that have been paid, and then the check registers that go with them. The other two reports are the revenue summary and the expenditure summary. And these reports are always going to be for the month ending previous. So we're reporting what happened in the month of January. This report gives us our current budget. It gives us the amount of money that was received in the current month and year to date, and what's left for us to follow on an ongoing basis. And things are going fine with that part of the budget. On the other page, the other 2 pages were the expenditure reports, very similar, except they're broken down a little bit differently, very similar to the summary budget that you're going to be hopefully approving later this evening, that we recommended last month. And it gives the expenses going forward. One of the things that we look at, and what's really neat, and you wouldn't even know this, but Friday the 13th was our 13th pay of the year for our teachers. So for a budget geek like me, I can go in and look at accounts, and they should all be very close, if not right at 50%. And so it's a great time to look at school year type people that are paid that way, and to check our budget against different things. And I've looked at a few of the accounts so far, and we're looking okay, and we're looking good. So that's good news. We did discuss some other budget reports, and we'll be working on that with the committee throughout the rest of the year. And we'll be looking at some other reports that we can add to this. But at a minimum, this will be our ongoing monthly treasurer's report that you'll be receiving. And then, like I said, we'll be coming up with some other things here in the next 3 or 4 months or so. But at the present time, this will be the base process that we'll be using.
Are there any questions for Steve or Darcy?
I just got one simple question. What's our free cash flow right now?
Our current
What's our free cash flow right now? Free cash flow.
I don't understand.
Outside of student loans, or outside of bank loans, just the,
We don't have the current payment.
The unassigned fund balance is what he's asking for.
I couldn't tell you that after.
We don't look at the, generally don't look at the fund balance on a monthly basis. One of the things that the fund balance is a snapshot in time that comes out with the audit. A month like January would be a bad month to gear it against, because we have 3 pays, so it looks like we're losing money. Where on a normal 2-pay month, it's obviously much different. July, late June, July, and early August are different because not all the school year people are working, so our expenses aren't as normal as they would be during a school year when everyone's employed and getting paid. One of the things that we talked about going forward was to look at some other reports, and those are some of the things that we're going to be looking at as we move forward to get not necessarily fund balance, but maybe a cash review and that type of a thing, giving you an idea of what's come in and come out throughout the year and how it's trending.
Because that is different than cash flow.
Yeah.
Balance reporting.
Totally, yeah. So
Okay.
right now, what I heard is that we are not using loans, and we have enough cash,
Yes,
free cash
Yes.
to, okay.
yep. We just got.
Which is good, being that we had a
We just
3
got state aid last Friday, a couple million, so we're good for right now.
Yeah.
That should take us for the next month, actually.
I was asking that because you said it was a 3-pay month, and I knew that it would probably be a difficult month, normally.
Actually came out just fine.
Okay.
So, yeah, cash flow, and just like Steve said, it's only a three-pay month. If you're looking at a fund balance month by month, you would definitely see a dip in the fund balance in like January, because it is three-pay.
Sure.
Which does make a difference.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we talked about during the meeting was just kind of getting a handle on what that looks like on an ongoing monthly basis. Like, whether it's cash flow, cash amount in the bank, whatever number you want to use, but the unassigned fund balance as of the June 30th audited report, the auditor mentioned it was about 14 days outstanding that we had, and it should be significantly more than that. So we'll just want to keep an eye on that, I think, is maybe what Darren's alluding to. And historically, we received a report called the Revenue, Expense, and Fund Balance Report. And in that, it kind of had like the summary, like the net balance of revenue minus expenses, essentially at the bottom. It also noted the fund balance. But if I'm looking at, I'm not sure what page number this is, sorry, but essentially this report, it looks like year-to-date revenue minus expenses, we finally reached a positive in January, about $766,000. Does that feel right?
Let me look at the couple of reports here real quickly. I got expenses are 15,000,005. Revenues are 16,000,000, almost 3. So yeah, just over 700,000. Positive, more revenue than expenses. Yes.
For year-to-date, but still based on the budget, because the expenses go longer than we receive revenue into the summer periods. We're still kind of expecting to be in line with where you forecasted the budget amendment.
I'm sorry.
You're still expecting to come in around the budget amendment rate?
That's the plan. Yes. Quite honestly, during the break between the end of the day and the meeting today, I was alone in the office, and I was sort of thinking of things to do, and it's almost time to start reviewing the budget again for me to start, like I talked about those salary accounts, and start looking at things again, because April will be here before we know it. But in the meantime, we'll keep on checking certain areas to see that they're trending the right way in terms of expenditure. There are some that I've noticed that appear to be very positive in terms of how much, if anything, I probably wanted to make sure that we covered a lot of expenses in some of our hourly staff. And now that we're more than halfway through the year, some of them aren't even at half expensed. So I think there are some positive things in there that will make it better towards the end of the year, and hopefully closer, if not better than zero, is what I hope that we'll see. I can't guarantee that, but I'm watching those kinds of things to see where we're headed with that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, both of you. And that will take us to Mr. Mattson for, he's always on the way, for the safety and facility report.
All right, good evening. Thursday, the 19th, we met in the central office here for the Safety and Facilities Committee. We met at 5:30 p.m. Trustee Davis, Trustee Simpson, and myself were present for this meeting. We did not talk much about Patterson and Herrick Park. Nothing has changed since last month, so we have no new information on there. But we did talk about a couple of ongoing projects. One being the printer and print services RFP that was presented to the last board meeting. And I did verify, reached out to make sure there was no additional questions, and that all documents that were requested were provided to the board. So, and I believe that is on your agenda tonight, with the recommendation still from the operations department to move forward with Applied Innovations and their contract. We also talked about the door buzzer on the south end of the high school here. It was brought to our attention by some concerned staff and a board member that there's kind of a funny angle on that door buzzer. We agree, we looked into that. We're trying to look for a solution. I believe the reason it's mounted the way it is because it needs a 45-degree box essentially, and there's only 3 inches of space between the wall and the door, and you can't fit one in there. So we are looking at alternate options for that. In the meantime, it is working properly. We did verify some lines to make sure that site could be met by the people sitting at the front desk. So we are secure, but we are looking at doing some changes at spring or summer on that as well. So, under capital and sinking fund projects, of course, the pool, we are still in design and development on that. The crews from Whiteman were out last week and did field verification of all the measurements of the spaces. So they are in that design phase right now to get that done, to look at, once that comes down, what we do with that end wall there on that north end of the building. So that'll be coming, more information to come on that, but like I said, they are in that design development stage. We're expecting the next 2 weeks to have that phase done, and then start moving into actual completed drawings and get submissions into the state. So, the pole barn at the middle school, that's a project we've been working on, getting that re-sided and re-roofed so that we have a usable pole barn there to store furniture, to keep middle school football equipment. I had shared with the facilities committee that before, the condition of that barn and the holes in the side and all of the things that we were having issues with. So that is still on track, but we had a small delay due to the weather, so we're postponed a little bit because we have to do a little bit of concrete work, and with the cold snap we had to postpone that to get that concrete done. So we're on track to get this project still done before summer, and we'll be ready to move furniture in there. Elevator jack replacement at the middle school is still on track. That is scheduled for June 1st, so as soon as school gets out, we have them setting June 1 through June 10 to replace that jack in the elevator. And then most of the other projects are still in the same table that we talked about the last meeting. The only one that's moved forward a little further in the last few weeks is the tennis courts here at the high school. We did get all of the drawings and bids back on those and submitted them to the U.S. Tennis Association, and I did receive confirmation today that they did receive that and that they are in the review phase right now for us, so we should know in the next 2 to 3 weeks on the $200,000 grant for that. And then we're also working with the MEDC and the Lenawee Community Foundation on some additional funds that could help to pay for those tennis courts. And then the only other thing we had was the safety and security updates. Filter First and Safe Drinking Water Program. The deadline is June 30th that we have to convert over our hydration stations, drinking fountains, make sure we have the new lead and copper filter systems in. And I have a walk tomorrow with our mechanical vendors as well as the reps from LK so that we can get those in and ready to go. So we'll have those before the June 30th deadline. And then we adjourned at 5:42. Questions?
Thanks, Josh. All right, and that brings us to a report from Megan Way on AP versus dual enrollment.
Good evening. I brought a buddy with me, Miss Irish. So this was a presentation that I gave at a board curriculum committee meeting the last time we met, and thought it was important that we brought it to the full board. So there's 2 different ways that we offer college credit for students, our AP classes and our dual enrollment classes. We decided to take a little bit a closer look at our processes this year because our dual enrollment costs went up pretty significantly this year. So when you have a significant increase in costs, you want to kind of dig a little deeper, see what's going on, and start thinking about the processes. So Miss Irish, this has kind of been a passion project for her, I would say. She convened a committee of some of her department heads to really dive deep into some of our state testing data to look at our students who are in AP courses versus dual enrollment courses and how they're doing. So we have a lot of great data to share with you guys, and feel free to ask any questions at the end.
Good evening.
So the first thing that we talked about in our committee group was the pros of AP. So one of them was the opportunity for those students to work one-on-one or in small group with their teachers. The majority of the dual enrollment classes that our students take are online. We have very few on-campus students that go to JC or Washtenaw. Almost all of it's online, which doesn't give you the same service as it would with teachers. Our teachers are highly qualified. Our AP program is nationally recognized, and when you look at the data, you'll see the big differences in how our students perform on standardized tests. For dual enrollment, sorry, you can go a couple.
One more?
Keep going. One more.
Oh.
Yep. So the biggest advantage for dual enrollment is you don't have to get a 3 or better on the exam to still get your college credit. Some of the tricky stuff is not every class you can transfer to wherever you want to go. So you have the Michigan Transfer Agreement, which is 30 credits consisting of some humanities, some math, some English. The only way that transfers, that group, is if you have all 30. And then it's guaranteed to be taken at all the universities here in Michigan. But that would, every student, they would have to max out because they're only allowed to take 10 in high school. So they would have to make sure they do get all of those in order for guaranteed transferability to whatever university they want to go to. So the Pupil Accounting Manual, which we call it a law, I don't know that it's law, but it's treated like law, says that if you offer an equivalent course, you should not be letting kids dual enroll in it unless it is a scheduling conflict. So we have to look at some changes in that area. We've had a lot of students taking dual enrollment English, and the Pupil Accounting Manual says we should not be doing that unless it's scheduling conflict, because we offer AP Lit, AP Lang. We're going to have AP Research next year, so that will affect how much we ended up spending over the last couple of years, so that should go down some. English accounts for over half of our courses taken by our students. The other majority is psychology, sociology, and communications. So, and this wasn't just my passion project. Our teachers were very passionate. They wanted to know if the kids are dual enrolling, are they performing as well? So those people that were passionate, Mr. Wellman, Mr. Ramsel, Ms. Work, who was a spreadsheet genius, was on there and saved us a ton of time. And a few other people. We sat in there, our instructional coaches were in there, and we really got into the data. I think we only had like 30 different spreadsheets going back to 2022. And what we found is kids that take English here on average grow from 10th to 11th grade by 59 points. If they take English off campus, dual enroll, online, whatever, they only grow 10.5 points on the SAT. We don't have enough math kids taking off-campus dual enrollment classes to be statistically significant, but we did note that if they were in a math class here, they still were growing 40 points. So that's a pretty big difference in terms of scores, in terms of how the school is ranked, how scholarships for students. It's a pretty big deal. So,
Question.
yeah.
When you measure that growth, is this measuring the difference between the PSAT in their 10th grade year and the SAT in their senior year?
A junior year, 10th to 11th. Yep. So spring to spring. That's what we looked at. And then we looked at the financial costs. So for 1 year of English dual enrolled through Jackson or Washtenaw, which is where the majority of our classes are, it's $1,600 for one class. We looked at an average, we just took $100,000 as, you know, with benefits and pay is on an average for a teacher, and it's about $550 per student a year compared to the $1,600 per year for dual enrollment. So it's $1,000 per course, per kid. We spent, I think, about $100,000 last year, and this year we're going to be closer to 2. But like I said, we got to get rid of the English part unless it's a scheduling conflict. So that should get us back to where we've historically been in terms of cost for dual enrollment courses. When they're in the building, we have kids that we don't even see. So we know socially, we don't have eyes on them emotionally for social emotional. So them being on campus is also beneficial for our kids. Test prep, as you can see by the scores, the programs grow. I know that 4 years ago, we had 139 exams given for AP, and then last year we had 275. So that program's really taken off. And we went from a 70% pass rate on AP exams to 85% last year. So that's pretty cool to see. Community investment, obviously, we make more investment in our staff if we're paying them instead of other places. We know that it's not ideal for everybody, and it might not pertain. So the counselors work really hard working one-on-one with kids to determine the best route for them based on their ability, what they want to do, and all of those things. So there's a lot of things to weigh, but I think it's pretty obvious that we know that our AP kids stand out in achievement because they're here, they're working with our highly qualified teachers. Questions? Cole.
I also just want to feel like, just in terms of, I don't know how every student was like this, but in terms of, college, I'm trying to think, college admissions race against other students or prospective students especially. I know there's a huge benefit to taking classes in terms of at your universities like U of M or the University of Hillsdale, those, I think, like 30% more like 30% or lower acceptance rate. The benefit of taking AP exams is huge because, one, you stand out among everybody else who you're applying against, and it just decreases the amount that you have to pay significantly. Like, I'm going to benefit a lot just from the AP exams that I've taken. And I also feel like, I'm sure you two know this, but just among the student perspective, bringing in like what I know from the high school, most kids are taking dual enrollment to avoid having to come in first hour so that they can sleep in. That's the reality of the situation.
And they know it's easier in general?
They know it's easier. So I know about probably, honest God, I probably don't know more than 20 seniors who are also in the school full time. Like almost all my friends, like I'm in first hour AP literature, which is the English class. We also offer a first hour dual enrollment English, and I almost have no friends who come in for first hour because they're only taking it so that they can sleep in until 8:30 and not have to come in later. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of the situation. I feel like it'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the reason kids are taking that, and it costs $1,600 a year, is so that they can sleep in more. Which ultimately, I don't know. I just feel like that's important to bring up too, and yeah, that's just my perspective.
So if you didn't know, if a kid takes a dual enrollment class, they can have one less class on their schedule.
I know. I don't think like say. I know no one will want me saying
but
this.
they still have to make sure they have their required credits. So
Yeah, like all the
whatnot.
credits are there.
We don't have too many kids that do that, but it is something that is allowed. So we do have a few of them that take advantage of that as well.
So can I just summarize what I think I heard as kind of future viewpoint is for those classes that we have AP for, checking dual enrollment for those same subjects per the law. Or
Yes, close enough. They
close
control the
enough,
money,
they control
so.
the law. And trying to steer those kids into AP versus into dual enrollment. But we are not removing dual enrollment from the curriculum.
No, they still have a ton of other courses. It's just if we offer it, we're not supposed to be letting them take it unless it's a scheduling conflict, so.
Got it. Thank
Which
you.
sometimes it is, especially with band kids, there's only certain hours, certain classes, so, and we'll still have, 20, 25 kids that will still need to do that, so.
And I think the
biggest thing that came out of here was just that we want a written process about, we want to have a very clear guideline for how we're helping kids select that, if they're going to choose EE over AP courses, what that looks like, when we'll allow those exceptions, who makes that decision. Kim and I love writing processes, so after reviewing all this data, that's the next step. So just having it very clear about what our process is. Try to save us money, but yet provide our students with the opportunities that
And Jackson recently, just to get more money, has enacted 7-week courses that you still get 3 credit hours for, which creates a problem when our kids are in semesters. So now we have to give them 2 7-week courses. Yeah, and they still get 3 credits for 1 hour class.
definitely not equivalent
Yeah.
to what we're offering
Correct.
at all. So.
I think what stands out the most for me is the difference in knowledge gained during that time. I mean, it makes sense if you're just say in front of a screen, or even if you go to a class once a week or twice a week versus 5 days a week, for the people who are trained to work with kids. A lot of professors in colleges aren't teaching like this as whole subject matter. It makes a difference. And that's, the better outcome part for me, the money aside, but that's, if I knew that, and I had kids here, right, so that's, steer them that way. You know, the better, that's what you do.
Yeah, I think when we looked at this in committee, you know, that's a staggering difference. It was a surprising difference in outcomes, and I think, you know, making sure that, I mean, I agree on the policy part, that's an important part of it, but this is also a really great opportunity to advertise the quality of our teachers, the quality of our programs to parents, to students, to, you know, there's a policy side, but there's also an approach to this of saying, hey, look how great this thing we offer is. And how much more you come away with, as, you know, as Greg's saying, that the knowledge they're leaving with, not just from an SAT point of view, but then going on to college, they're going to be better prepared. Just a better option.
Angle in the county that we could spin about if you really want to be on the U of M track and you want to have a higher chance of getting in there, come take our AP courses. You could potentially get 59 points higher between your
Right.
sophomore and, you know, it's a really market
Yeah.
that way. It's really, really beneficial for those kids who want that higher level like U of M.
Yep, to have that big of a difference and the ability to distill it out and show it as a specific thing. This is how much more you can get. That's a huge selling point, especially for parents for whom understanding the difference and the relative cons and benefits is, you know, it's a more opaque subject. And so I think this is a really good way to distill it down for parents who are trying to understand what's best too.
And we did look for data that shows how kids perform if they took AP versus dual enrollment. We didn't find that direct comparison, but Columbia University has a whole study on dual enrollment versus non. And it's almost the exact same number of kids that enroll. After the first year, like everywhere else, that number goes in half. That's for all kids, within 1 or 2%. And then even actually by the 4th year, the non-dual enrollment kids end up a little bit higher as finishing than the dual enrollment. There's not specific with AP, but there doesn't seem to be that if you dual enroll in high school, you're going to perform better or stay longer. There does not seem to be any data that supports that either. So, yes, Doc?
So I just know like this is one of the few areas I know like a decent amount about, so that's why I'm talking so much. But I do know personally, going from taking the AP classes I took my junior year, my SAT I saw over 250 points of growth. I think I went from like an 1100 to like upper 1300s in my SAT score. And like, so that was like, was the life changer for me that made it like, it obviously is having some sort of difference because especially here, you guys all know Mr. Ramsel, and I know Mr. Wellman has moved on unfortunately, but Mr. Ramsel does a great job of making sure you know basic math that you're actually going to apply outside of just calculus in your everyday college life, or all the English teachers emphasizing basic grammar and not just how to write the specific essay for your AP class, but how to write an essay. Because if you're on the AP class, you're normally taking the college course. So I just think past just the subject matter, AP instills good college like practices and realistic measures for a lot of people going forward. And I just think that it's just very beneficial.
Do we offer any dual enrollment classes here?
We had Spanish this year, and Jackson has approached us about maybe a statistics class or something next year similar to that. The counselors start scheduling next week, so they'll be able to see what kind of interest there may be. We also talked about psychology.
Do those still cost us $1,600 if it's our staff, or is that more along the lines of the $500?
Oh, it's the same.
It's more about.
They just use our building. Yeah, it's just,
Take it in person.
yeah,
Or they use our building, but it's still their staff?
yes.
Is there a reason we wouldn't use our staff?
They tell us our staff is not qualified. We have tried numerous people.
Okay.
Set of criteria that they use, and it's not just teaching certificate.
It's not highly qualified yet. It's based on if your master's in the subject area, and most of our teachers have master's degrees, but it's in education or something related. We don't have too many with masters in the content, and they still do a fabulous job. But yeah, we've tried that more than once.
Okay.
So maybe a different question. So dual enrollment is through a specific institution, school. AP is
Our teachers.
our teachers, but it's recognized by a national college board. Okay. So then, from a college board perspective, they have expectations of our teachers and how to build the curriculum. But then for dual enrollment,
That
it's
depends on
a
the
mechanism where a school can
Yep.
utilize their staff.
Yes.
Do we have data comparing our school versus other schools in the county or other schools? How do we compare with our SAT scores post-AP classes versus other schools?
Well, we haven't been able to, they don't break it down. So up to 2021, you used to be able to get all that data from Michigan, and they stopped doing it. So we cannot get that detailed. I mean, we can look at SAT, but not based on if you took AP or if you did, we're not able to get that, so.
So
I'd be
how are our
surprised if the
SAT
other districts are putting in this much time and effort into studying their AP.
But how are our SAT scores
Good, top.
comparatively?
I just want to, I appreciate being fact-based. I just want to make sure that we're not trying to put correlation and making it causation, because it sounds like maybe the real cause is people in seats. So it sounds like most of the dual enrollment is just strictly online versus people going in class. And maybe that's the difference. I got my entire associate's degree through dual enrollment. 100% paid. I didn't have, I mean, I passed tests, obviously, to pass the grade, but I didn't have to pass tests to get the credit. And, you know, I graduated with associate's degree 2 weeks after my high school. So I definitely see significant value in the dual enrollment if there's any possibility to, you know, bridge some of that financial gap. I mean, 50 points on an SAT is notable, but is that like 1%? Is it out of 1,500? What's the SAT? 1,600?
And just that
So-
59 number growth was any kid taking English in the building, so they weren't just AP.
Okay, yeah, and that really sways the data
Just AP versus
significantly.
the others, it's significantly higher.
Yeah, so that really sways the data for me.
That even included our online
To making it
English
relevant
classes
even.
that were in person, so.
So,
I'll say that the situation of graduating and being able to get an associate's out of the dual enrollment is specifically one we talked about as there's a real utility there. And, I don't think dual enrollment is a bad program, and there's going to always be students for whom that's the choice that makes sense. But for the students who would otherwise select AP and are thinking about how these things factor into, you know, going on for a 4-year degree or, you know, to be able to get the advantages of, you know, having them here in the building, the cost reduction, and provide them with a better education. You know, I think helping students to, you know, make the determination about which path, you know, are they on that associate's path, or is, you know, are they looking for something that, you know, they'll take on into a 4-year program. You know, not to say that there's not a real utility for the dual enrollment program.
We just met with the counselors the other day, and we were talking about how many kids have finished the Michigan transfer agreement since it's been around. Less than 5.
Over what period of time is that?
4 years?
Okay.
5 years?
So I have just a clarifying question. These online classes that our dual enrollment students are taking, are those only for high school students, or does anybody take these online courses?
You have to have a qualifying score in your PSAT, or you have to take their placement tests.
But
to qualify.
the class is mixed between high schoolers and other students?
The online ones,
or?
I'm sure they are.
So I think that's maybe the difference is the ability to fill a class, pay for an instructor, and unfortunately the trend is, well, not unfortunately, I think there are a lot of different demographics that attend Washtenaw Community College or Jackson College, and so online classes with working and some other things, I think Mrs. Brooks would tell you if she did online, or that would have made some things a little bit easier, might be part of it. So I think there is a purpose for dual enrollment for certain students, and so I'm happy to hear that we're not trying to eliminate it.
No.
I haven't heard that we're trying to eliminate it. I think it's more coming into, for the lack of a better term, compliance with a rule, as well as giving, to Dr. Martinez's point, the best educational opportunities to all students, kind of moving forward. But I would also say online is beneficial because unless they're teaching it at the building that they're trying to sell, the drive to Jackson College or to Washtenaw Community College does not allow a student to just miss one class. So from our school district, and so I think that's another reason why there's a convenience to the online classes for students that want to take.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question? I should know this. What grade do you have to get an AP class to get college credit for it?
So the scores go from 1 to 5. Majority of the schools, you need a 3 or above, but some of them are steeper, like U of M. Many of their classes, you have to have at least a 4 or 5. So it varies among schools. Michigan State, which is weird, but you only need a 1 in computer science to get college credit.
Really not.
That's pretty unheard of, but.
Grade, but the test itself.
Yeah.
The test itself.
Yeah.
Like one of the universities I'm looking at, I got a 5 on my AP Lang exam, which is the max you can get, but it still won't count for credit. So it's up to each university specific. So I also think, that was something I was thinking, like, even if the counselors like asked you what university you're planning on attending, and can structure the AP classes you do take to make sure they're the ones that count for credit. Because the university I'm looking at attending, I think 2 of my classes won't count for credit. And
Will they
so-
count for electives? Sometimes they'll count as an elective, even if they don't count as English. You should check.
You should check with your mom.
So, well,
I was waiting for that to come out. But I also think, I know students in our district who have very clear plans. And so they are doing dual enrollment with community colleges, or that they are planning to attend to meet the goals that they've set forth. And so, again, I think it's good that we have both.
For sure.
Let's make sure we're following the rules, but I do know students, like, they have a very clear pathway of what they're doing, and they're taking the dual enrollment from those schools to make sure that that pathway goes quickly. So, because they have, in all cases, much bigger plans than that associate's degree. And so they want to get that AA done ASAP so that they can keep going.
For the classes we teach here, where we're still paying $1,600 a student, are we charging them rent for the room or getting any amount of that
We
back?
haven't because it was just a convenience for our kids. The Spanish this year was our 10th graders. They can't all drive like our upperclassmen. So they didn't have to leave the building. The teacher came here a couple days a week, and so that was just kind of a convenience thing. We didn't charge them anything.
We reduced a half of FTE in Spanish this year too, so we needed help meeting the need.
And we have room. It's not, I mean, we didn't have to move anybody. We have lots of extra room, so.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. All right. That takes us in, sorry, get this over here. Takes us into discussion items. Mr. Hilton, we've got the district calendar.
Yes, all right, trustees, I'm bringing forward just a first briefing tonight around the district calendar. It is in your packet. I want to start first by thanking the Tecumseh Education Association for their partnership in developing this calendar with us. I'm sure you know that in the state of Michigan, the calendar is actually a negotiated item. So I wanted to make sure to thank them publicly for their support and their work. So just a few highlights. Trustees, this calendar largely mirrors the school calendar of the year that we're in. We were able to continue our established pattern of half-days at designated times, which provides consistency. We are following the countywide 2-week holiday vacation and the countywide 1-week spring break vacation. This calendar, importantly, this calendar also maintains the first semester exam schedule occurring before we leave for the 2-week holiday break. And this is really important for students as they can take their exams before they leave, rather than having 2 weeks off of school and then come back and have to take their exams right away. And so last highlight that I want to share with you, we were again able to provide a fall break as part of this calendar year, and the feedback that we got from staff and families this past fall about a fall break was very positive, and we were able to honor that again. Again, for just a first briefing, but if you have any questions now, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
So I know when we made this change the first time, the other discussion was about spring testing and when it falls, when it used to fall versus our spring break and now. So when is spring testing kind of
I'm going to ask the experts on spring. Mid-April? Yeah.
Because we also moved up spring break, I think, didn't we, when we made the.
Okay, hearing no other questions, moving on. Next item up for discussion is the budget committee recommendation. Trustees, you know we've been talking about this as a group. And one of the things that I did is went back and talked to the finance team, and our recommendation is that we move forward with this idea of implementing study sessions for all board members at critical times of the year or critical times of our budget cycle. We believe this approach will give us a small group feel, give us some flexibility, while also giving full information and access and opportunity for each board member to participate in shared discussions at budget revisions, audits, amendments, certainly setting up the budget, and certainly any other topics that may come up as we go. So that is our recommendation. That is something that Darcy, Steve, and myself will be planning towards, and I wanted to report back to you and see if you had any questions or comments.
I appreciate the review of it. I think the direction is prudent and gives us what we need as a board without putting too much pressure on our finance team. So I just really appreciate the thought and kind of consensus on it moving forward. So.
Great. Okay, next up as a discussion item, trustees, is pool closure and reduction in force. Trustees, with the closure of the pool and the upcoming demolition, the pool director position is just no longer operationally necessary. So I'm bringing forth a recommendation to for a reduction in force for this position. So to be clear, I want to say that this individual has served our district very well. This is not a decision that reflects, or I'm sorry, let me say it this way. This is a decision that reflects the facility's status rather than individual performance. And I'm bringing this forward to you this evening for board action so I can proceed appropriately with the transition. And if there's no questions or comments there, I'm going to bring Megan Way back up to the podium for some discussion around careers and data science course. Trustees, as she is on her way up, this has already been on the agenda, and you had a presentation in regard to this. And then I left it off of the next board meeting accidentally for your vote, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to just ask her any questions if you needed to, because it is on for action later this evening.
Welcome back.
Thanks. It's been a while with this agenda item.
Can you just give a little 30-second?
Yeah, so if you can remember, we wanted to look at introducing a new elective for next year, something to do with careers. We were taking the business angle, but with input from one of our advisory committees, we started looking at this high need for careers in data science, and we found this really cool course that we would like to offer next year, and it's around data science and careers, but also there will be different business spins and everything like that. We're just going to offer it for one section for next year. We're looking at having Mr. McDowell, our computer science teacher, teach that because they do a lot with like Excel and Python and Java and different things like that. And we're really trying to gear it towards a fourth-year math option. So students will have more options in their electives as a fourth-year math instead of just art or computer science if they've already been taking those courses. So, yep, we're going to start small, see how students respond to it, and then hopefully grow it more if we can.
So I just have one real-world comment. This week, I just added data fluency to all of our job descriptions.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
So I think this is a very important course. It's something that's going to set our students in their future kind of apart from others and give them a head start in college or in jobs right after high school, knowing how to do this stuff. So
Yeah, high demand jobs for sure. Yes, thank you. Any other questions about the course? Okay.
Thanks, Megan.
You good? Okay. Now that is going to take us into the discussion about the superintendent contract. As you will recall, trustees, we had Mr. Hilton's evaluation in December. He was rated the highest rating that they now allow us, which is effective.
Correct.
They no longer allow highly effective. So his contract will be up. We had reviewed a few different things, and ultimately the contract that I sent you, that Troon had put together, spells out the contract that we are offering Mr. Hilton at this time. Is there any discussion points?
Can you confirm, based in the county, where does this put Mr. Hilton from a rank?
About dead center, if I remember correctly.
So not highest, but kind of.
I think I have it right here. I should have printed it, my apologies. I know. But yeah, as I recall, it puts him pretty much dead center for the county.
And where is he at right now with his current contract?
He was number 2 at the bottom. That is the wrong one.
So do we have any idea what Sand Creek is looking to offer?
I don't.
Their interviews are this week.
I don't know what they were offering.
I think, you know, what we're second.
Mhm.
We have the highest scores in the county. We have very good offerings. Mr. Hilton has introduced excellence into the district, and he is working earnestly to fix and reconfigure those things that we need to fix and reconfigure. Let's be frank, he got the sinking fund passed because of his communications plan. We've seen enrollment in a positive direction, so I think he's proven to us that he is a top-notch superintendent in the county. I know from speaking to others in county kind of north of us, they miss him. So I think from that perspective, I'm in support of this contract change. I know it's a little bit difficult for us to look at it in our current budget situation, but I think Mr. Hilton brings the value that we're putting into his contract and then some through his work.
Well,
What's the terms of the contract? I forgot. I don't have it with me and it's not in here. Timing. When's it effective? For how long? I don't remember.
it's a 3-year contract,
Effective when?
starting July 1st.
I mean, I would just second a lot of what Lynn is saying, that, you know, I think Mr. Hilton has demonstrated a tremendous ability to navigate the community vis-a-vis the district's interest, to manage the administration and the financial cleaning up that's needed to be done. You know, as well as to manage the staff to continue delivering excellent education. I think not only is the right person for us for the job, but a tremendous value to us with what we give him.
And I will expound on that further. As someone, Mr. Simpson and I, stepping into a situation where it was chaotic and things were not as they should be, and having to take that and move it forward is a tremendous job. Mr. Hilton walked into some situations that were very difficult. He is still navigating situations that were very difficult. There were job descriptions that hadn't been in place that should have been. There were processes that were not in place, such as certain hiring processes. He has put that in place, made it what it should be, so it is the same across the board for everyone. There is no, oh, I know you, I've known you a long time, so I'm going to hire you. That's not happening in Tecumseh Public Schools anymore. There are, as I said, there are many things that he stepped into that were not, and the board is now learning some of the things that were being done that were not necessarily the way that we would have liked to have seen them done. And he has turned that around. And for that alone, I absolutely believe he deserves this contract.
I think the other part of it is you have to protect your assets right now, because we were lucky to get Darcy when we did, and to find Steve, that was help with Troon, so that we can get our budget squared away. But when I took the board president class, I think it was August or September of '24, one of the guys up there said, when you get money, you have to do it, if you have a superintendent you like, you need to work out contracts with them, because bigger districts don't, they look at the superintendent's performances from smaller districts. They don't, a big district isn't going to pick somebody for the first time superintendent. A lot of times they have internal candidates where they can groom people for a succession plan, but for the most part, if you've got a high-flying district, people look at the statistics, they look at the data that the state posts and say, we need to probably talk to this guy. So It doesn't mean you poach them. Some people, they poach superintendents too, is what,
Oh, yeah.
what they told us, and especially in more, in the metro areas, but, in my opinion, he's done a great job. I don't need to have to get enough, I don't wanna get to the point, and I don't think he does, where we have a bidding contest, bidding war to keep our superintendent here. He's done a good job. He hasn't had a pay raise since he came here. If you look at the salary schedule and the perks that other people got, I mean, he doesn't get as much of an annuity here as our administrator. So it came in pretty low on that first year, and it was signed out that way for 2 years. And I just think we want to get him caught up to where he's chasing Adrian's superintendent and work from there.
Absolutely.
Nobody's catching the ISD superintendent.
Yes, well,
Greg, is that, I wasn't here, was the first contract a 2-year contract? I thought I remember like,
3.
it was a 3-year, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, was it 3?
So it hasn't expired yet?
no.
It doesn't expire until July of next
This
year?
coming July.
Is that correct?
June 30 of 27.
7, right. So we're a year
Oh, that's not what this
Right,
is.
and I
That's
think
what I wanted to.
when this discussion started, though, that was exactly what, Greg was saying, what he's telling us now, that, yeah, we're 2 years into this, but Mr. Hilton is the guy we want here.
He's the only employee that has a pay raise.
Yeah, so the point of the contract of doing this now was to kind of lock that next 3 years in and bring things a little more in line with what we think would be competitive.
And I apologize, Darren, looking at this, it says July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Yeah, I agree with everything everybody said. I think Matt's done a great job, and I think from the beginning he was dealt a tough deal of cards that should have been known ahead of time, and it wasn't. I don't know why. I wasn't on the board then, but I also know that we've talked since August that we've got a major budget issue deficit that we're facing, and I really think that as a district we got to understand that before we make a decision like that, because there's a lot of folks that are going to have to sacrifice, and it's top to bottom. So it's a tough call. I know I don't want to be the only person sitting here saying it. I'm just thinking from a financial standpoint of where we're at, and
It's also
it's
quite
not-
expensive to go out and hire another superintendent.
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it's
just-
not clear to me how we would come out ahead by, trying to change leadership in the middle of it. I think that the budget situation is a frustration for everybody, and that, I, as a member of this board, feel like, we were misled over time prior to Mr. Hilton's getting here. But I think there's the line of causality is a little backwards then to look at him. It's like blaming your oncologist because you have cancer. That is backwards. We know about these issues. We know about some of these more complicated problems now because Mr. Hilton found them and brought them to us.
Exactly.
We're in, as much as it's a difficult place, we're still in a better place than to think things were better than they were and be kind of flying blind to the problems. I think a situation where we had to go out and find new leadership, both from a cost and a transition point of view, would be wrong for the district.
What's the variance per year again?
It's a,
Yeah.
It's about 3% the first year, and then a little bit less the next 2.
So how much is that factoring a year?
I've got the numbers here if that's helpful for you.
So 5,500, 6,000. So over 2 years, 11. stayed the same?
That bumped up some.
It bumped up from original, but it stays the
It
same.
bumped up to, closer where Adrian's at. Yeah, not quite to where the IC is. Understatement.
How much did it cost us to do the last superintendent search?
8 or 9, right?
Yeah, I want to say it was between 8 and
something.
9, yeah.
And I think one of the reasons that Mr. Lewis brought this up was because we were seeing new superintendents coming in much higher.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I think, I understand Mr. Miller's comment and I appreciate it, but I think again, we're kind of at a wash potentially between searching for a new superintendent and, the additional increase in salary versus maybe what our cost is per year. So, I appreciate the comment, but I will say this, I sat on one board, and the comments about that superintendent's character, which in hindsight, we learned a lot, I think, more than even the people that recall the board expected to learn. And I appreciate Mrs. Brooks and Mr. Simpson keeping me informed of what they were finding. But the comment was that that superintendent had lieutenants and groupies and only did things for them. Our last superintendent, very often, the comments from constituents in town were that he was a member of the old boys club. I can say unequivocally that I have never heard a negative comment towards Mr. Hilton's character. In fact, in the community, while we are going through more difficult times, we have difficult times we are managing, I have not heard Mr. Hilton's character be questioned. I have actually heard, how is the board supporting him so he does not leave?
Absolutely.
And so from that perspective, while I understand we have a lot of things we need to look at and a lot of things we need to do, those things do not get done without proper leadership. And I again state that Mr. Hilton is the proper leadership to take TPS forward into the future. And I think if it's 11,000 or 15,000 over 2 years, over 3, whatever, I think that it is worthwhile for us to do that, to make sure that we maintain the leadership that our community is now starting to trust, and who understands the situation. I think he has a deeper understanding of the issues we're dealing with than the last 2 superintendents did. And we dealt with budget issues with both. I won't talk about the interims. But I appreciate the comment, but I think the right direction is to approve this contract so that Mr. Hilton can understand his value to the district and to the board and keep us moving forward.
Well said, as always.
Do we know, just curious, I guess it's a question for the board members that approved the current contract, why the current contract was a flat rate without any increases or anything? What was the logic just a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Correct. Yeah.
But we approved it, right? The board approves the contract. So why didn't we question it then, I guess is what I'm asking.
I would assume, first off, it was brought to us that this was the contract that they had come together. So what are we going to say? Why didn't you give him a raise? That would be first. But then secondarily, he was a new superintendent.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm just asking. I had no idea why or where it came to.
He was a new superintendent. This was a new position, so that's factored into those discussions. And that was the contract that was brought to us. It was fair. He agreed to it. And then, as you've heard, he just came in and blew us away.
Yeah, he's done a great job. I agree.
I can assure you, the superintendent evals that I did previously, they did not get scores like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
Yeah.
Thank you for your efforts. Mr. Hilton, I think you've done a great job. Really a lot of learnings going on, and continue to find some interesting nuggets along the way, as with any job, but appreciate your efforts there. I am interested in countering that proposal a little bit. I am interested in providing an incentive, not just whatever percentage, a random percentage that's put in there. I definitely understand that economics are a factor, and not having an adjustment in 3 years is definitely a factor. Mr. Hilton's tenure, I guess, in general in the position is a little bit less than some of those other players there that it's being compared to. But I think your caliber is equivalent probably to the other players. So I'm interested in offering an incentive that is tied to financial performance as well.
I'm not entirely sure how we would do that for him.
Can I make a comment about the 10-year comment?
Sure.
I would like to remind everybody that Mr. Hilton was the director of elementary education in a district that had more elementary schools than, I think, double the number of elementary schools in the buildings that we have.
21.
21.
3 times, 4 times. I lose count. But I had the privilege professionally to review superintendent contracts. The incentives I typically see are driven by enrollment, typically because of major losses of enrollment.
I'm sorry, Lynn, can you speak up just a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So some of the other superintendent contracts that I've looked at, although I think an incentive is an interesting concept, I would say that it's, in my opinion, should be on top of, because we're trying to level the playing field first. But I think an incentive, if we see a plan come through this year that we think we want to see pushed through, then maybe, every year we can renegotiate the contract. We don't have to wait for it. Actually, I think superintendents and boards prefer that you do not wait till the end of the contract to renegotiate. But I would say a lot of the incentives I've seen are around enrollment, maybe some with financial incentive or finance incentives, but tangible things that you can measure improvement on. The other concern I have about a financial incentive at this time, only at this time, is that I think we're still uncovering things. And so to put a target to something that we're not really super clear on everything yet, I think we're getting clearer every day, I think is risky on behalf of the district and Mr. Hilton and our mutually beneficial relationship.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. Thanks for asking.
I guess my concern is that if we see general enrollment trends, not necessarily specific to Tecumseh, but general enrollment trends in Michigan, as we've been talking about, continue to decline, and as we still try to recover out of this, there's going to have to be some areas of take. Let's put more take. In certain areas, I don't know where those areas are going to be at. I don't know where they need to be at, but there's going to have to be some adjustments somewhere, and it could be rather significant. So committing to this, I know it doesn't seem, again, this is kind of in the same ballpark as, doing the 5-year plan, having MSB come in and do it for $10,000. It's kind of that same ballpark, same even numbers involved. Just fundamentally, we're going to be asking probably some people to give. And I think we just need to be cognizant of our overall financial standing.
Well, our financial standing is going to continue to get better because the bond will be paid off in about 5 years, less than 5 years now. So the taxpayers, us, who all live in the school district, it's not going down because the price of your house is going up, but the millage is rolling off. By 2029, we're done. So,
But there's not a huge amount in there right now.
no, there isn't, but I mean, if you're talking about, when you're talking about cost, is your cost, you're just referring to the taxpayers?
No, I'm talking about TPS.
No, she was talking about TPS.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
There are definite saving things that are coming along. The GSRP class changeover, that's going to save us money in preschool. I mean, there are many things he's done already with the help, not knocking either of you either, but he's already put those things in place. In my opinion, he has earned this already.
Here's the other thing. You know, people are not happy to take the refrigerator down, online rolls, the rest. Students, get their graduating class, that's all about that unit. But when you go to make cuts, it's the cost of what you need to make. You don't want to sacrifice the people that do. So you're going to take a 10% cut. It is sacrifice you for the net. So you don't want to bring that all down. It is sacrifice. So we got to make some cuts. We have to make cuts to do it, but we also need to give people a living wage and increase that wage. Sometimes by doing that, we have to make other cuts. We have to make other cuts. So that's my philosophy on it. I do it, but we're going to be in that situation where we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to right-size the ship, and we still have to give people grades that they need. So we're going to lose good staff.
Exactly.
Right-size the ship. Before those adjustments.
And I think too, outside of the educational sphere, when an organization has to go through a turnaround, there are incentives, but that base pay of a turnaround specialist is usually much higher than your previous person that held the role. So I think, while I believe Mr. Hilton would not like to be in the position of turnaround specialist, I don't think anybody would in an educational sphere. I think he's there, and so again, I just echo again that let's keep us stable in the superintendent's office in order to do make those hard choices and have a leader there who is not afraid to find those choices and to plan for them. And I think the last two permanent or full-time, not interim superintendents that we've had in this district were not willing to do those things. And so I think, again, I think we've all had our say, so maybe it's time to go into action.
well, last thing, the previous two superintendents made the central office larger. It's not. It's actually gotten smaller. When you look at, he's been doing all the PR stuff himself, and when you talk about budget cuts, I mean, nobody seems to illustrate what it takes to cut budget better than he has of the last, go around we've had with superintendents, not throwing stones at anybody, but the fact of the matter is, the data's there. I mean, you look at the size of central office now versus what it was, he's assumed more responsibility, and we quibble about $5,000 a year more. It just doesn't make sense to me. We cut $100,000+ position, and he's the one picking it up. Everybody else has to take something on too, but that's what leaders do. They lead. They put the right people in the right position and move forward, and you don't miss a beat.
That's right. Ready to move on to action? All right.
Yes, please.
That takes us to you,
All right.
Mr. Martinez.
From the top, I move that we authorize the administration to proceed with the necessary reduction in force in accordance with board policy.
Second.
Roll call vote. Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
Trustee Davis?
Aye.
Trustee McGee?
Aye.
Trustee Simpson. Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
All right. I move that the board approve the addition of the careers in data science to the district's course offerings effective for the 26-27 school year.
Second.
Roll call vote. Trustee McGee.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Aye.
Trustee Simpson. I can talk. Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
And chair votes aye on that as well.
All right. I move the board adopt the 25-26 budget amendment as presented by the administration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Simpson. Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee McGee.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
All right. I move the board accept the administration's recommendation from the copier request for proposals and authorize the administration to proceed accordingly.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Trustee Davis.
Aye.
Trustee McGee.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Simpson. Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
I move the Board of Education approve the employment contract for the superintendent as presented and authorize the board president to execute the contract on behalf of the district.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the contract. Roll call vote. Trustee Davis.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Simpson. Trustee Miller.
Nay.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee McGee. And the chair votes aye. Moving into superintendent report.
Okay, thank you, trustees. Moving on, superintendent's report. Trustees, this evening I wanted to bring a first briefing, if you will, of discussion around schools of choice for the 26-27 school year. This is the normal timeline in which you would be hearing a first discussion with a vote the next time we meet so that we can begin to open our school of choice window. So just a few important reminders, just to say them again. The Schools of Choice program allows for non-resident parents and guardians to choose into neighboring school districts. TPS has historically held an unlimited Schools of Choice program, and in doing so, when you are unlimited, you are then required to take all applicants unless they have been suspended or expelled from another school district. What I'm proposing is a continued small change for next year that mirrors this year, in that we would include a limited school of choice program at grades 1 through 5 while remaining unlimited in young 5s in kindergarten and then 6th through 12th grade. So I'll say a little bit more. So before we go any further, just some context for you because I think it's important. There are a few characteristics that have held true over time here in Tecumseh. So on a yearly basis, approximately 50% of our schools of choice enrollments come at young 5s in kindergarten. Most of these do happen when we hold our kindergarten roundup event, which makes a lot of sense. The other half, though, is largely spread across other grades. There has been a recent uptick in high school, and those enrollments largely come in July and August. Some in April and May when we're pushing enrollment before school is out for summer. With June, people are on vacation and just out having fun. So in terms of our unlimited schools of choice, I mentioned we would stay unlimited in 6th through 12th grade, and then unlimited at young 5s in kindergarten. So in grades 6 through 12, we do have some more flexibility because we can schedule students across multiple sections, electives, et cetera, that give kids choices and gives us a little bit more ability to schedule more students in those grades. Our limited grades, well, let me say, you can first see up on the screen, young 5s in kindergarten is unlimited, but our limited grades, 1st through 5th, this is where we want to approach it like many other school districts approach it and simply say, we will take a minimum of 1 student at each grade. We can certainly take more than that, but we have to take at least 1. We do this so that we can balance our space needs. We can maximize enrollment without pushing class sizes too high, because we don't want that either. It's not an experience that we want for our kids if our numbers get too high. You know that we are kind of packed in our elementary schools, so that's a factor in this decision making. But we believe that this approach allows us to grow where we can grow in the ways that we can, and keep class sizes where we want them, so we are best serving students. Just for a little context, last year when we went limited at 1st through 5th grade, we actually had 2 different enrollment windows, and we didn't turn anyone away. We were able to honor all the schools of choice applications. There is one nuance that I want you in the community to know about in terms of those enrollment windows. For the grades that are unlimited, we are now projecting an open enrollment beginning March 17th that would extend through the first Friday of the first week of school. That is a state law. That's how it's done for unlimited grades. The nuance, though, comes with our grades where we're limited. So by state law, we have to post a limited enrollment window for 30 days, and then we must notify families within 14 days of the window closing. So given the enrollment trend data that I mentioned earlier, my recommendation would be that we open our enrollment window for grades 1st through 5th from May 1st through May 30th, and then notify families by June 13th. This gives us that enrollment window. It allows us to monitor space availability, and then we can notify families of their acceptance, just as we're all getting into summer break, and then families can plan, and then internally we can plan for section sizes, number of teachers, space needs, etc. If it turns out that we get to about July 1st and we have some more space availability, I will simply open a second enrollment window, just like we did last year. So trustees, overall, it's the same plan that we had for the current school year that we're in. We keep an eye, I think you probably realized this about me last spring. I keep an eye on enrollment almost daily, because it is what allows us to plan for staffing needs, budget needs, space needs, transportation, food service, actually all of the things. So if you have questions for me, I'd be happy to take them tonight. In your packet, there is a draft resolution that you do have to authorize me to do this. There is a draft resolution, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them about the plan for 26-27.
So, Mr. Hilton, understanding our budget concerns and that class size and segments or sections are kind of critical to that. I get the windows for school of choice, but when we talk about new families coming into the district boundary, is there any trend or typical time where they will come through and, like, let's say they move in the summer, which is a very common time to try to move your family. Is there a common time or a trend of when those enrollments come in?
I think you're maybe I'm misinterpreting, so don't let me say it if I'm wrong, but you're asking somewhat of a mobility question around.
Yeah, what I'm kind of alluding to or wanting to understand is, do we find ourselves in the July-August timeframe suddenly on the unlimited piece getting a lot of school of choice kids, and then we also know that around that time is when the new families within the boundary may enroll, and so we find a section problem?
We can. I can give you the scenario that you're describing absolutely can happen. And in fact, I think this past year kind of did in our kindergarten when we had to add a section. These are good problems to have too, right? But if you'll remember, we had to add a section of kindergarten at Sutton because we just had a large number of families both in district, let me say it right, both in the district, as well as interest from schools of choice families. I think I would have to go back and look at the numbers. But I believe from the presentation that I showed earlier, we were up in kindergarten with some schools of choice, but it wasn't huge relative to prior years. What turned us this year was, if it wasn't schools of choice, it was in-district families. So that's an even better sign. Do you know where I'm going there? Yes. So, you know, Trustee Davis, I don't think I can give you a yes or no, but I'm saying yes, that can happen. And, you know, families are coming and going, and it is no doubt that when we get about a week and a half, 2 weeks from school, there are some families that, oh, school's starting, I gotta get registered right now, and that's when we hear from them. That's pretty consistent as well. I know I'm not exactly answering your question, but I'm trying to give you the context that provides more information.
Yeah, I appreciate that you watch it really closely. The concern theoretically is that you have 6 kids that you have to, and you can't put them in other classrooms. And
Yes.
so how do you manage that kind of thing? So.
Yes, those are challenges. Yes,
Okay.
they are. I should mention, trustees, because this is important, and I want the community to know it as well. In our limited grades, when there is, if there are more applicants than we would have space availability for, by state law, you take first the students who have siblings that are already enrolled. So, for example, if a family has a 3rd grader enrolled already as a schools of choice student, and they want their kindergartner to come in, that child would get preference. And then, of course, the families that are in the district are in the district and in.
And this is basically, or very similar to what we did last year.
Yep.
This is exactly what we did last year. Okay, if no other questions, Ms. Brooks, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, that actually just takes it to you for items for next agenda.
It stays with me, yes, it does. Trustees, certainly we will have a lot of good news. Ms. Barton is going to join. I have a couple other things. We'll have some discussion items, a couple of action items as well. I also want to just tell you, as well as the community, that in March, we are off our typical pattern. And we're off that typical pattern because of spring break. So when we met in July and we set this year's calendar, we chose March 16th, which happens to actually be the 3rd Monday of the month, as opposed to the 2nd. I just want to make sure that that is clear for you, but mostly for the community.
Sounds good. All good?
All good?
All right, then we will move on to board member comment and discussion.
All I'd like to say is I think my daughter probably consumed about 10% of those tacos. So I expect a framed photo of Mr. Dolson. Because that's what she talks about every time they come up on the menu is the tacos. So evidently they are very good. It's no surprise.
They are very good, I can attest.
It's no surprise it was a record. So
Excellent. Anyone else?
I want to close with one comment. I didn't get to, I want to make a point about the superintendent's contract in my view and why I brought those questions up, and has nothing to do with performance. By God, I mean, we're in a great situation, but being the background of we still have about 2 years left on the contract that we have in place, and financially the district has some struggles coming and a budget situation that's a deficit. To me, in my experience, we've got another year to probably wait, and that's why I was asking the questions and the points I made, is I thought, from my perspective, we still had a year. So I don't want any perception that I'm sitting up here complaining about what Matt's done, because it's the complete opposite. I feel like we are very lucky in a good situation, so thanks.
Anyone else? All right. We'll just reiterate what we've basically already said, which is you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you all.
And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.